Senate urges urgent action for the release of the Obalohun of Okoleke, abducted earlier today. House of Representatives condemns challenges surrounding the 2025 JAMB examination, calls for full investigation. More defections shake the National Assembly and state legislatures. Hello and welcome to Parliamentary News, reaching you from Abuja. I am Ene Ojonugba. Senate has commended the recent directive of President Bola Tinubu to the National Security Advisor to establish forest guards to curb rising insecurity. Senate also suggested that the Nigeria Forest Security Service Bill awaiting President's assent could be amended to accommodate the proposed forest guard. These were some of the adoptions by the Senate sequel to a motion urging authorities to secure the release of a traditional ruler, Obalohun of Okoloke, James Ogunyada, who was abducted earlier Thursday morning in Yagba West local government area of Kogi State. Senate also urged the police to investigate the recent attacks in Benue South Senatorial District, during which 13 persons lost their lives. Meanwhile, Senate has passed for second reading bill to establish the National Agency for Malaria Eradication. The Federal Capital Territory statutory budget for 2025, estimated at 1.7 trillion naira and transmitted to the Senate by President Bola Tinubu, has scaled both first and second readings. It has been referred to the appropriate committees for further legislative scrutiny. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali has more on these and other proceedings from Wednesday's plenary.
President Tinubu's letter transmitting the budget bill was read at the commencement of plenary, and it immediately went through first and second reading.
1,289,690,124,776 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
Senate leader Upeyemi Bamidele highlighted that essentially the proposed spending prioritizes infrastructure developments and provision of efficient services to FCT residents.
I've seen the infrastructural budget, 1.2 trillion. It would be good if the Minister of the FCT takes note of the urgent need to provide services, infrastructure services to the adjoining areas.
I can see that a lot has been budgeted for the education sector, which I must commend the minister.
The Honorable Minister secured an approval from the President to build two police stations in each area councils.
I believe strongly that the President has done well, just like Senator Nengi observed, that in the last 2 years of his administration, FCT has changed, and so it will need support.
Senate passed for second reading bill to establish Rice Development Council of Nigeria, sponsored by Senator Adamu Aliru, and also confirmed appointments of 5 resident electoral commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. As the Senate prepares to hold a summit on national security, it has set in motion a strategy to enable it better understand the dynamics of cybersecurity and telecommunications by engaging major players in the telecom and ICT industry to interact on their impacts to national security.
We have situations where in the largely unregulated social media, somebody with access to 10 megabytes of data will sit down somewhere, particularly in the area of artificial intelligence, concoct some stories, put somebody's head on somebody else's body, and push it out, leading to distress amongst people.
We need to be designing our systems with that cybersecurity in mind. There are different conversations going on around having the national cybersecurity architecture, around having online harm protection bill, and so on.
Strengthening Nigeria's digital resilience and cybersecurity will form the agenda of the proposed security summit. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has condemned the widespread challenges that marred the conduct of the 2025 Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAMB) examination, describing it as a source of nationwide agony. The House has resolved to investigate the circumstances. Ignatius Nkwo reports.
Well, that was the motion that came under matter of urgent public importance, and it was the first one. And well, actually, members were engaged on that particular motion. You saw interest, you saw emotions as Representative Adewale Adebayo described that issue, the circumstances of the 2025 JAMB result as an agony. He said that exercise did not just only witness massive failure, but also loss of life, as the House in its entirety made some resolutions, and particularly that there should be establishment of all the exam centers in all the 704 local governments across the states. And then they also resolved to invite the registrar for question and investigation. Now, but I have with me here a member who wants to talk on this particular motion. Thank you for joining us. Now, you saw that motion, you saw feelings, you saw emotions there in the chamber as regards to that 2025 JAMB. Now, what do you think drove that motion in the House?
It has been deliberated upon, discussed, and views were presented and discussed. We come to realize that there are a lot to be done on it, and the Speaker agreed that the investigation should go on so that the House will be availed with the required and necessary information to be able to take further actions. Despite the fact that the registrar has come out publicly to, first of all, for the first time, I had somebody coming out with remorseful to say, yes, he takes responsibility on behalf of JAMB. He knows that there were a lot of, problems that culminated into all this failure and the rest of it. I think the resolution is cogent, is very important, because the moment JAMB or student have problem, the entire education ecosystem will be affected. So the resolution is perfect. The committee will investigate with the view to report back to the House to deliberate and see way forward.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Before then, 3 members in the chamber defected. Now, one member, Oluwoloke from Osun State, defected from the PDP to the APC. Another member from Kano, 2 members from Kano State, Kabiru Al-Hassan and Abdullahi Sani, all defected from the NNPP to the APC. Well, that defection witnessed a presence of people who came for solidarity, led by the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Omar Ganduje. Well, this is what we have for you at the moment.
The Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly has officially defected from the PDP to the APC. He says the move is aimed at preserving the speakership for the benefit of his constituents. Obehi Otobo Apresai reports.
This Wednesday plenary session was the first official assignment of the Speaker after his defection to the APC. He promptly declared his allegiance to his new political party, the All Progressives Congress, citing obligation to the will and welfare of his people and constituents as the major motivation for his political decision. He urged the House to remain united in the pursuit for purposeful leadership.
For me, it's not about party, it's about the events of the area. As a speaker, if I throw away this position of the party, position that will enhance development in the area, that means I will represent my people. So that note, I took that decision. I think to elect and people are very happy with it. But I spoke about some of the projects the governor has due to my area. The people of West are very happy about it. So that led to that decision. Politics is not about interest, not by interest, by people.
The majority leader and other lawmakers expressed their approval and support for the Speaker's decision. They said the main goal is to push forward the vision and mission of the state governor, Senator Monday Okpebholo.
The party is a venue which will move from one point to another to achieve your objective for the people. The intention to come to the APC is to join us solidly to see that mission and vision of Mr. Governor, District Senator Monday Okpebholo is achieved even before you came. Doing that for us, I think you're coming out, make everything very, very easy.
We need the collaboration of everybody coming together to do the work as to moving the state forward. The issue is not the party you present. The issue is not what the tag is, but the benefit that's going to accrue to us by that oneness is very fundamental.
The Speaker and two other lawmakers, the member representing Akoko Edo 1, Yekini Jaye, and Sunday Egberemonle, defected this Tuesday, bringing the APC lawmakers in the Edo State House of Assembly to 18, while the PDP retains 6 seats. In Benin, Obehi Otuba Presai, NTA News.
In a bold step to curb the spread of diphtheria, the House of Representatives is calling for a nationwide mandatory immunization campaign. The motion was brought on the matters of urgent public importance by Representative Bitrus Lauri. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
Referred to the Committee on Public Petitions.
It was the second plenary of the week. Rising above the day's agenda was a growing national concern on diphtheria. Drawing the members' immediate focus, Representative Bitrus Lauri moved the motion he described as critical and deserving of swift, coordinated action to save lives.
The outbreak's current resurgence poses significant threats to Nigeria, already overburdened public health system. That in Africa, nations such as Niger, Gabon, and Mauritania have reported outbreaks with only a handful of confirmed deaths due to effective vaccination coverage.
Those against you say nay. There is of it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Health Institutions and Information and National Orientation for further legislative action.
The House also called on authorities to intensify security for victims of attacks and displacement in Isa, Sabon Birni Federal Constituency of Sokoto State, moved by Representative Mohammed Bargaja. Members also resolved to investigate what they described as irregularities in the remittance of 2% surcharge on import of raw materials Research and Development Council by the Nigeria Customs Service and the Federal Ministry of Finance as provided by law. This followed a motion by Aliu Abdullahi.
National Maintenance Agency, National Commission for Refugees to provide food and non-food items to the survival of the family of the deceased.
To call on the Federal Ministry of Finance to ensure accurate calculation and immediate remittance of all areas of the 2% surcharge to the RMRDC.
The North Central, South-South, Southwest, and Southeast Development Commission's amendment bills seeking to expand the number of directors were passed. The bill for an act to establish the National Vocational and Entrepreneurship Institute JOS, Plateau State, sponsored by Representative Daniel Asama Ago, passed second reading.
Have a common purpose. It is designed to expand the directorates of these 4 commissions.
An Entrepreneurship Institute JOS, Plateau State, to provide for full and part-time courses of instruction in different fields of studies.
The Counterfeit and Fake Drugs and Unwholesome Processed Food Amendment Bill passed first reading.
Colleagues,
from the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
We now take a short break. The news continues shortly.
Are you looking for a short channel to make your business, goods and services go viral? Look no further, as NTA Parliament is your sure channel. Take advantage of our wider reach and advertise your products and services on NTA Parliament DSTV channel 370, GoTV channel 126, StarTimes channel 306, and Free TV channel 706. For more inquiries, contact the Marketing Department, NTA Parliament, NTA Headquarters Area 11 Garki Abuja, or call these numbers 080-383-40464 or 080-770-78055. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
Thank you for staying with us. The House Committee on National Planning and Economic Development has held an interactive session with a delegation from the National Bureau of Statistics. The focus was on promoting economic growth and addressing youth unemployment amidst current economic challenges. Correspondent Joshua Ogunjide brings us the details.
The 10th House of Representatives is concerned about the effectiveness of some introduced economic policies that they alleged have been undermined by structural bottlenecks and supply chain inefficiencies, amongst other factors.
And the full year of 2024 Economic Performance Report. The report showed that the nominal GDP in quarter 4 2024 was 78.37 trillion, which is higher than the figure that we have in quarter 4 of 2023. That was 65.91 trillion. So as we are saying that the economy is stabilizing, is growing, is doing better than we have before.
The committee also reviews the rate of poverty, youth unemployment, and how to bridge gaps of development in tandem with annual budgeting.
Considering the current economic landscape, the monetary authorities, as they meet next week, should consider a more accommodative stance that promotes growth and employment generation.
In another development, the African Diaspora Union, African Descendants in Diaspora Union, has presented a private bill, the African Descendants Citizenship Bill, to the National Assembly for legislative consideration.
Gone are the days that will be deprived of our rights, which is knowing a citizenship right, having it, sense of ownership. And that's why we're here today, to get the bill to a distinguished Senator Nwoko to pray and request that our wish and request will be granted, which is to sign off the bill that identity, anytime, any day, Nigerians should be free to come to their country without having to be restrained from anywhere, any port, to ask for their identity or get another visa to come into their country. And that's the reason for this meeting today.
All I'm going to do is to present this to my committee members who work around it. That's why I've called my SLA on drafting, to look at it and say how we can make it practicable.
From the National Assembly, Joshua Ogunjide, NT News.
Meanwhile, correspondent Joshua Ogunjide interacted with some members of the Afridu delegation shortly after the advocacy visit. They spoke on what the proposed bill seeks to achieve.
These are people who are your brother, your sister, my sister. What happened over 400 years ago? They were uprooted from here involuntarily and removed, I would say kidnapped, and carried away without their consent to a land foreign to their indigenous communities. And while there, they couldn't be granted a liberty to make a choice where they want to belong. They were forced as slaves, and they were imposed a lot of hardship and treated to all kinds of inhuman, degrading treatment, and rendered as if they are subhumans. Meanwhile, where they were taken forcibly from, they are kings. Some of them are elders. Most of them are very well respected, and they were not allowed to return home. And they have been wishing, how, my home, oh my home, when shall I see my home? And then here you have African diaspora, descendants in diaspora, being seriously concerned, having been endorsed by AU, African Union, to get involved in diaspora issues Of course, you know they have already been acknowledged as the 6th region in Africa. In addition, in addition to the other 5 regions. So they're already being treated as Africans from the African Union. So what needed to be done is to take some legal measures, provide some legal framework that can make it possible for them to return home and get enculturated, get assimilated into their various communities. And let me tell you, a good number of them have traced their origin to Nigeria. You know, the modern way of determining DNA through the DNA system, a lot of them have undergone the DNA test, and it's confirmed that they're from Nigeria, from communities indigenous to Nigeria. And you know, in Nigeria, there are 3 ways through which you can acquire citizenship of Nigeria. One is by birth, the other one is by registration, and the other one is by naturalization. So our own interpretation of the constitutional provision in section 25 to 2831 of the Nigerian Constitution is that they are entitled, as of birth, right of birth, to be assimilated back into their communities of origin. But something needs to be done beyond that, which is to create that legal platform upon which they can stand to get assimilated. Beyond the fact that they want to return home, most of them are grown so wealthy, they want to return and make meaningful investments, help in developmental strides in their respective communities and even in Nigeria. So to return, we don't want them to return as tourists. Neither do we want them to return as visitors. We want them to come back as part and parcel of indigenes, of communities indigenous to Nigeria. So we thought that, okay, fine, looking at the Constitution, how can we bring them back? The bill we have presented today captures the legal framework and operational framework that can grant the government of Nigeria that credible standing to now give them the opportunity to return home as those who are entitled as of right to lay claim to indigenship of Nigeria. I mean, it's a very clear thing. I mean, it's a very sentimental thing, I must tell you frankly, because when you look at the whole thing, you begin to wonder, can human beings be treated like this? You know, so in July and October last year, we created a platform and a forum for them to return, and we interacted. Some of them today are title holders of communities indigenous to Nigeria. And then, because it is so, we now want to let them come in legally through a process, adopting one of the processes of becoming or acquiring citizenship of Nigeria.
Today is historical. Today sometimes it has become emotional for us because this is something we never thought would ever come to fruition. But we've worked diligently to make this private bill possible. And we are happy today that we are able to submit this draft bill to the Committee on the Diaspora and also Repatriation. We just have to take this opportunity to thank the senator, the distinguished senator who is actually responsible for repatriation and who has been working with us on this. We are really grateful as an Afridu family to thank him and all those senators who will be working on this bill. I think this bill is actually humanitarian if you look at it in a way, because a number of years passed that a number of Nigerians had actually gone out. And we have made this bill possible to legally bring them into back for those of them who would want to return to their father's home. That is what this bill we have the draft bill we have submitted today is all about, and I think we are happy to be here.
The Southwest Youth Parliament is urging governors in the region to intensify efforts on security, tackle climate change impacts, reduce youth unemployment, and reposition the Southwest Development Commission. The call was made during a plenary session held at the Ogun State House of Assembly in Abuja. Yemi Dalemo completes the reports.
The youth parliamentarians who cut across the 6 states in the Southwest region passed a vote of confidence on the governors of the zone, commending them for their administrative ingenuity leading to social, economic and political development of the Southwest region. They also appreciated the Ogun State House of Assembly led by the Speaker Oludaisi Elemide and the Conference of Speakers in Nigeria for their support at all times.
A vote of confidence is ever passed on the 6 governors of the Southwest region and the Assembly Speakers of the Southwest region.
Speaker of the Youth Parliament, Temitope Joseph, urged the government to take concrete steps towards addressing the root cause of insecurity in the region by equipping the Southwest Security Network Amotekun Corps to combat all security threats and also engender cordial working relationship with other security agencies for the protection of lives and properties of every Nigerians in the zone.
Which they come together as governors in the Southwest to enact, which is the Amotekun Corps. So he is sponsoring a bill for it to be further strengthened by our governors, and he has told us the security threats across the Southwest region. He has profiled some solutions that can curb insecurity in the region.
This bill seeks to empower our communities, engage our youth, and strengthen our local security system.
The Youth Parliament also commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Minister of Youth Development Ayodele Olawande for their efforts, especially on the creation of Southwest Development Commission and their various policies and initiatives aimed at improving the economy, infrastructure, education, and healthcare of the people.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should be commended for signing it into law. We now have a Southwest Development Commission in which it is to give us development in the Southwest region.
They, however, urged the president to address the deteriorated state of various federal rules network in the Southwest states and heed the cry of the common citizen by providing basic amenities needed for good life across the country. In Abeokuta, Yemi Talemo, NTA News.
That's it on Parliamentary News. You can follow this newscast and other programs on our social media handles showing on your screen. Thank you for watching. I am Ene Ojonugba. See you next time.